Penn State has landed Iowa State offensive lineman Trevor Buhr out of the transfer portal. Welcome into the Tengwall Film Network and another episode of Portal Profiles. So Trevor Buhr, he is going into his redshirt junior year. Last year, started 6 games for Iowa State, and we're going to dive into his entire game against Arizona State. For these offensive linemen, I like to pick one game and just kind of dissect the entire game because there's so much activity for an offensive lineman. So you're going to get a really good idea of how this guy plays, and it is physical. Let me tell you what, I really like this kid's tape. I think he's going to be the starting guard for Penn State on either the left side or the right side, but he has a lot of potential and always plays through the whistle. So before we get into this one, make sure that you guys do hit the subscribe button. If you have been enjoying all the transfer portal content, we are going to continue to pump it out for you guys. As always, it is always going to be free. No paywall, just Tengwall. Without further ado, let's roll the tape. All right, we're going to start out in the run game here with Trevor Buhr and watch him on this outside zone. And he is just going to take off and get on this linebacker and take him for a ride. And guess what? You're going in the dirt. Nuts in the face. That's what I love to see. Let's talk about everything that he does here. So this is outside zone. So he knows I need to run to get to the outside shoulder of this linebacker. So first thing I want you to see, I love how he takes this foot and stabs it back in the ground. Look at the shin angles. This allows you to accelerate. He's pushing off of this foot and stabbing this foot in the ground. Boom. Look at that shin angle. Look at that toe strike. That is how you accelerate. So I love the mechanics first off. Does a great job. Hands inside on this thing. And then we're just going to drive. And this is the nastiness you're going to see out of Trevor Buhr. Just burying a man, taking his soul, feet up in the air. Trevor Buhr don't care. He is going to absolutely bury you. All right, next play. Here we go. Getting in on this double team. Coming off on a linebacker, on a DB, I don't really care. Put him in the dirt. He's going to be nice about it right here. He's not going to completely finish him off. But look at this. So you're running duo here. So this is right up the middle. So I have a combo block here between center and left guard. Does a really good job getting into this thing. I like how he is, basically hip to hip. He keeps this inside foot as the high foot to make sure that this doesn't get broken through, and then holds it. And then last second, as soon as he needs to get off, he gets off, 2 hands in, and then I'm just taking you and driving you. That's the best part about his game. He always wants to finish guys off, and that's what I love to see in offensive linemen. You want to see a physicality, and that's important. Look, sometimes people might say, I love it, but it doesn't really mean much. No, this means everything when you want to finish off guys through the whistle. All right, next play. Now we're going to see him getting in the pool game, and it's the same thing. This doesn't go for a whole lot of yards, but he's going to make sure he drives you through the echo of the whistle. So it's just a simple little down block, and then we're just going to go ahead. We're going to skip pull around. I like how he has patience and then gets up underneath this thing. I like that right there. That initial kind of, you see that lift right there, that lift. Understands leverage and how to move guys out of the way. And like I said, every single time you're going to see this, there's going to be a lot of this at Penn State that we're going to be watching the tape, and he's just going to take dudes off of the screen and try to finish them off. All right, now right here, this is kind of underrated, and this is something you're going to notice, especially in his pass protection in a minute, but his IQ is really good. So what you get here is you are going to run, they're basically running Rocco Becht on just kind of a quarterback keeper outside. That's something you get to do. Hey, we got Rocco Becht 2026, baby. But here we go. He has to reach this linebacker, and he knows this linebacker is going to flow. Now, the problem is that this defensive tackle is kind of in the way, so he can't take a sharp angle because this is all in the way. So he has to go around. So by the time he goes around, all right, I avoided this, but now I got to find a way to reach this guy, and he is just that much faster than me because we're even on leverage, and I'm 150 pounds more than him, so he's going to beat me over the top. So instead of holding him, what I love what Burr does is here, he just puts 2 hands in and says, I'm just going to give you everything I got and just shove you in the side, in the back. And no, you're not going to get a block in the back on an offensive lineman. It really just doesn't exist. Just shoves him and just tosses him into his friend over here and gets them both planted in the dirt. So even when he can't get a perfect block, this is just hustle that I love to see, and actually ends up wiping out 2 guys right here that could help make the play. That is hustle. That is IQ there from Burr. And then last play right here, watch him just on this reach block. I thought this is really nice, just kind of moving his man out of the way. It's not a huge gain, but he does his job. This is not an easy block when you have these big splits. He has to take a big step. And once again, I love his mechanics. You see how he stabs this foot in the ground and kind of gets almost a toe strike right here because he knows he needs to accelerate, get into this thing. We're going to get hands inside, and then he feels, all right, I'm probably not going to be able to reach him because he's playing this inside half. So I'm just going to take him where he wants to go and dump him inside, go strong arm with that left arm, and I'm making a really nice cavity here for the running back to run through. So smart, physical, and this guy is always going to finish in the run game. All right, now we're talking pass pro, and I said he's always going to finish in the run game, and you can add pass game to that too. So kind of goes upright right here, and he's going to actually get picked by this defensive tackle, and there's really nothing he can do. He's just trying to get into this thing and gets picked and just gets knocked off, and a lot of guys just kind of fall out here, but he says, hey, I got hit. There's nothing else I can do, but guess what? I see someone right here. I can just lay a lick. Boom. Just toss him down. That's what you do when you're in the slide. And then I'm going for more. Toss him out of the way again. So, like I said, just takes advantage of the fact that I get picked here, so there's nothing else that I can do except continue to work in the slide and just throw a lick and be physical with these defensive linemen. And then I love this. I see he's on the ground. I haven't heard a whistle yet if I'm Trevor Buhr. So guess what? I'm going for more. Toss him out of the way. Really, really nice physical rep there in pass pro. All right, now here he is. Left guard, upright, puts two hands in and makes sure, okay, I'm checking my B gap right here because we're in the slide. So he has the A gap, he has the B gap, he has the C gap. So I'm checking. I make sure that my center, all right, you got him good. All right, I'm going to leave you now. Ready? Go to hit the hip and doesn't all the way finish him off. He was so close, and that's a feeling, like as a former offensive lineman, when you're so close to pancakking a guy, but you don't finish, it's like, dang it. But guess what? I haven't heard the whistle yet, so I'm going to go back for some more. This is the physicality. Boom! And then finally, I'm finishing him off. Success up top for Trevor Buhr. Once again, putting his feet in the air. This is the type of stuff I love. When you're a guard and you are in the slide side, as we call it, and you know that your center has secured the defensive lineman, this is when you get to have fun and go take a rib cage out. And I just love this guy's finish on every single play. All right, here we go. Once again, left guard here. We're in the slide, and it's going to be more of the same. I make sure he's got eyes in the B gap. He makes sure that this isn't slanting inside. He secures this, make sure that my center, he's completely good. I'm not going to leave until you're all the way good, my brother. And then guess what? Same thing. I see rib cage free right here, and Trevor Buhr is going to go, boom, attack that and put him in the dirt. And guys, this matters. Over a long period of a game, this makes defensive linemen rush differently when they know at any second, out of nowhere, they might just get bang, their hip and their rib cage just absolutely caved in, and that's what Trevor Buhr was doing in this one. So really, really good stuff. Now, I want to talk about kind of his pass set of just how patient he is. So a lot of guys, when they have a tight three technique, they're either going to jump out and they kind of go too far. What I really like here with Buhr is, watch this, just uprights. Just straight up upright. You don't need to move anywhere. You're already a half man. You want your leg, you want your outside leg to split the defensive tackle down the middle. He's already there. So just upright, patient, and just put two hands in, and I'm just going to completely control this thing. I'm going to post down. All right, now he's rushing back outside. We'll kick a little bit, and I just have this guy completely locked up. So really nice patience. Great job controlling of trying to work some power moves there. But this is something I saw over and over again on this tape, was his ability to just not be out of control in pass pro, but understand where he needs to be, understand that this is a really tight shade, and he's just sitting down on this thing. Really, really nice rep right there from Burr. All right, here we go. And he's got really nice recovery too. So I like this. This defensive tackle kind of puts a really nice move on him right here. And so this is what I mean. So sets outside, throws this punch, kind of gets beat. Some guys, you get that spin move. He does a good job getting the hands off you, but I love this. Pushes off this foot, boom, boom, and I'm completely refit back in this thing in front of my guy and allowing Rocco Beck to fire this ball out there. So that is great recovery here from Burr of not jumping too far out and being able to completely get back inside, post down, and protect your quarterback. All right, here we go. Next play. And once again, his ability to kind of move and have the IQ, this is what I really like. Now, the quarterback takes a hit here. I don't really put this on Beck. So what you're going to get is you're going to get this defensive tackle is coming to pick the center, and this defensive tackle is looping around. Burr does a good job. He rides this out, and he stays on this as long as possible. The center gets picked off, but he's trying to pass this off. He stays as long as he can, and then finally he says, hey, this guy's looping. I have to get off of this. This is now my man. I'm sorry. I tried to help you as much as I can, and that's what I like about what I've seen from Burr, and then gets off and takes the hit off of Beck, except Beck is getting hit by this guy. But he, like I said, he did everything that he could on this rep to help his center out. This is great movement. This is a great job and really textbook job of how to pick up a stunt in the pass protection game. Now, here we go. Once again, left guard. And I just wanted to show this as the last one, as being a high IQ guy that always wants to help out. So he's in the slide again, meaning he has the B gap. Tackle has C gap. The center has the A gap. Now, what I like is he has this wider 3 technique, so he knows it's kind of his man, but he gets hands into this thing, and as soon as it's secure and he feels the center kind of come over, boom, you see his eyes? They snap out to make sure, does my tackle need help? Because if this guy were to slant inside, then Burr would jump out because he knows he has a center. He would jump out and help his tackle, but he's just checking. I got you. I'm making sure. And then, okay, I'm just going to stay on my guy at this point now. He's fully mine. He's kind of declared, and now the center is kind of the help man here. But this is just the little IQ things that I'm watching Trevor Buhr, and I can tell he understands the game and he understands what is asked of him at his position. All right, now let's talk about the small negative things I found in Burr's game. And the number one thing is sometimes he will lean a little bit too much. So here in the run game, you think that you are going to basically be on this double team on this defensive lineman. Well, the defensive lineman slants away. So now if I'm Burr, I know I'm just going straight up to this linebacker. And so we'll go, like, we're good here. We're good. And then he just completely leans and bends at the waist and tries to punch this guy. And he just runs around it. Doesn't even really put a move on him. And now you see he's kind of like hanging on his backside, and this linebacker makes the tackle in the hole. So anytime you're one-on-one with the backer, like right here, this should be blocked up, but just leans a little bit too much at the waist. He's able to kind of get in this hole, get back, and then make the tackle right there. And then next play, here we go. This is a 2-minute drill, where you're going to have to be good against some Big Ten defensive linemen. And he gets beat there. Now, this is probably the worst play of his game. That is for sure. But once again, you see that you can't do that. He's fully leaning out on his left leg. He's got no power in this right leg. So this is kind of the complete opposite of what we were showing earlier in Pass Pro, where he's completely under control and waiting. Now, when you put him in a position where he feels like he has to move a little bit more. So earlier, we were talking about a defensive lineman that was lined up right here, and he was just upright and just punching the guy. Now, we're working with space. This is a 4-eye technique, and he's got to get out. And it's clear he's not as comfortable working in space because you never want to be caught in this type of a position. So definitely something to work on there. And then last play I want to show right here. Sometimes his punch isn't where I'd like it to be. So he's able to get this ball out right here, Beck is. But the problem is he kind of posts down. All right, we're in a good place. Sometimes he needs to just throw his hands. He needs to just punch this guy and let it fly. But I think he's too hesitant sometimes to just punch the defensive lineman. So the defensive lineman works a move, and then he kind of completely drops this back left leg. And if this is a better defensive lineman, he might be getting home to hit Beck here. So you got to be careful with how patient he is with his hands and kind of allowing this defensive lineman to get into the rush lane. But overall, everything I've seen from this tape, I'm excited about Burr. I think this was a big get, and I think he is going to be a starter at Penn State